I'll deal with whoever runs the show. They don't know. They are fighting with each other. There's tremendous infighting.
Trump bragged he could handle Iran's infighting. Now his own team appears to be splintering over the war's real cost. As the Iran war drains US stockpiles, Trump's team is getting caught in an increasingly public clash over the facts. Are you hiding missile shortages? Vance appears to be pressing the Pentagon behind closed doors. Vance warns of a depleted arsenal while Hegseth keeps projecting confidence in public. Iran war may be handing Beijing an opening as Vance grills the Pentagon over shrinking missile reserves. Trump administration officials are reportedly raising new questions about how the Pentagon is portraying US power projection in the Iran war, with internal doubts emerging over whether the public narrative matches the real battlefield and logistics picture. Vice President JD Vance has reportedly been asking whether the Pentagon is giving President Donald Trump the full picture of the war, especially in private discussions about costs, risks, and sustainability. According to The Atlantic, Vance raised concerns in closed-door meetings about US missile stockpiles and whether key munitions are being depleted faster than the administration has publicly acknowledged. Vance is said to fear that American missile reserves may be far more strained than official messaging suggests, particularly after weeks of high-intensity operations tied to the Iran conflict. Those concerns reportedly extend beyond Iran, with Vance worrying about whether the United States would still be able to fight a major future war in Taiwan, Korea, or Europe if stocks are being burned down too quickly now. Despite that, US military officials and War Secretary Pete Hegseth have continued to insist that American stockpiles remain robust and that the military's position is still strong. Officials familiar with intelligence assessments told The Atlantic that the internal picture may be more complicated than those public assurances suggest, helping explain why questions inside the administration are growing sharper. Iran is still assessed to retain about two-thirds of its air force and a significant share of its missile launching capability despite weeks of US and allied strikes. Key US munitions may already be more than half depleted, with The Atlantic citing concerns that several critical weapon stocks have been drawn down far more heavily than public messaging suggests. The Atlantic also points to internal tensions within Trump's national security team, particularly over how the war's progress and costs are being described inside the administration. According to people described in the reporting, Pete Hegseth's messaging is seen by some insiders as overly optimistic and too closely aligned with what Trump wants to hear. Behind that public messaging smokescreen, JD Vance has reportedly kept pressing for greater clarity in closed-door meetings as doubts grow over the real state of the war. Beyond missile stocks, Vance is also said to be questioning the Pentagon's broader portrayal of battlefield success against Iran. As a result, questions are now being raised over official US claims of complete control over Iranian skies and over how decisive the campaign has really been. Taken together, the reporting suggests the scale of the war and its long-term risks may be getting understated at the highest levels of the US government. The United States weapons inventory may be under increasing strain, raising concerns about readiness for future conflicts. A report by Business Insider suggests that critical munitions are being consumed at a significant pace during the ongoing Iran war. Over the course of just 39 days, US forces reportedly relied heavily on 7 key weapon systems in coordination with Israel. These findings were highlighted by 2 warfare specialists associated with the Center for Strategic and International Studies. According to defense analysts, such levels of consumption could pose challenges if a larger conflict were to emerge. The report indicates that while the US maintains substantial stockpiles, they may not be sufficient for prolonged or simultaneous wars. Even prior to the Iran conflict, assessment suggested that US stockpiles could be stretched in the event of a major confrontation with China. Experts have warned that replenishing munitions used in the Iran war could take considerable time and industrial capacity. Some estimates indicate that more than half of pre-war inventories for certain systems may already have been expended. The scale of US munitions usage during the Iran conflict is reflected in the numbers below. Around 1,430 Patriot interceptors have reportedly been used out of a total inventory of approximately 2,330 units. 4 SM-3 interceptors. Estimates suggest that between 130 and 250 missiles have been expended from a stockpile exceeding 400. In the case of SM-6 missiles, usage is believed to have reached up to 370 out of an available inventory of about 1,160. Precision strike missiles, considered a newer battlefield asset, have seen between 40 and 70 units deployed from roughly 90 available. Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles have also been used extensively, with more than 850 fired from a stockpile exceeding 3,000. Similarly, around 1,000 joint air-to-surface standoff missiles have reportedly been utilized from an inventory of over 4,000 units. In response, Washington is reportedly moving to expand production and rebuild depleted stockpiles. Lockheed Martin is expected to increase THAAD interceptor production capacity to approximately 400 units annually. Production of Tomahawk missiles is also being scaled up to exceed 1,000 units per year. However, estimates suggest it could take more than 4 years to fully replenish certain key systems. As a result, analysts believe the US could face increased vulnerability in the event of another major conflict. Many of the munitions expended in the Iran war are considered essential for deterrence and operations involving China. Military experts have emphasized the importance of maintaining sufficient long-range strike capabilities for future scenarios. The report further cautions that a potential conflict with China could lead to even faster depletion of US stockpiles. China's Navy has staged a live fire drills east of Luzon just as the Balikatan 2026 exercises put Allied firepower on display nearby, turning the region into a competing show of force. According to agencies, the Chinese Navy conducted a live fire exercises east of Luzon Island amid steadily rising tensions with both the US and Manila. On April 24th, Chinese state media aired tightly edited footage of the drills but conspicuously withheld precise dates and coordinates, keeping the exact scenario ambiguous. Beijing Southern Theater Command said the operations were meant to test sea-air coordination and rapid maneuvering, showcasing how fast its fleet can reposition in a crisis. Official statements described the drills as a necessary operation to safeguard national security, framing them as a response to what China sees as growing external threats. Reports now suggest the PLA's Liaoning Carrier Strike Group is operating east of Luzon alongside these exercises, putting a full Chinese carrier presence on the edge of the first island chain. The group reportedly includes multiple destroyers, frigates, support ships, and amphibious hulls, giving Beijing a balanced force for both offensive and defensive operations. At least one Type 055 destroyer, the Zuni, is said to be leading a task group within that formation, highlighting China's decision to put its most modern surface ship up front. The Type 055 is widely described as Asia's largest surface combatant, with reports noting it can pack around 112 vertical launch cells for a mix of missiles. Analysts say those cells can be loaded with a mix of hypersonic weapons, long-range anti-ship missiles, and advanced air defense interceptors, turning the ship into a floating arsenal. Military analysts argue that by sailing a Type 055 so close to Balikatan, China is deliberately placing its most advanced surface combatant where US and Allied sensors can't miss it. That presence turns the drills into strategic signaling as much as training, reminding Washington that any future blue water fight would involve these heavily armed flagships. Amid all this, online and regional reports have floated claims of a YJ-20 hypersonic missile launch during the operations, hinting that more exotic weapons may have been rehearsed. The launch reports remain unverified, but even the rumors signal a clear escalation in maritime posturing, with hypersonic threats now central to the message. The YJ-20 is described as a ship-launched anti-ship missile built for long-range strike missions, allowing Chinese warships to threaten targets far beyond the horizon. Its reported speed exceeds Mach 6 in cruise, with terminal velocity that could approach Mach 10 as it dives toward its target, shrinking reaction times to seconds. Open-source estimates put its range at roughly 1,500 kilometers, meaning a launch platform can strike deep into an opponent's defensive envelope without sailing close. Analysts say the missile likely uses a boost glide or quasi-ballistic trajectory, making its flight path hard to predict and more difficult for traditional radars to track. It is explicitly designed to go after high-value targets like aircraft carriers and heavily defended naval groups, not just lone surface ships. The weapon is built to punch through layered Aegis-style defense systems and missile intercept shields, exploiting speed and maneuverability to overwhelm defenses. As such, the YJ-20 is seen as a key part of China's anti-access and area denial strategy in the Pacific, raising the cost and risk of any US carrier operation near its shores.